The Rohingya crisis has finally shocked the entire global community. But just as many other hot topics in the media, it has also been popularized for the wrong reasons. Even though the United Nations has called the Rohingya the most persecuted minority in the world and has called the attacks against them a textbook example of ethnic cleansing, the global media insist upon a very different aspect of this crisis, the Muslim-ness of the Rohingya. The world seems to be gruesomely entertained by the awful side of Buddhists killing Muslims. And Myanmar's de facto leader, and look at the other way, there's nothing going on here in chief, Aung San Suu Kyi, is more than happy to play along with that mischaracterization because it helps her solidify her position that there is no Rohingya crisis.
That the great majority of Muslims in the Rakhine state have not joined the exodus. We have to work towards not just looking at the problems, but also looking at those areas where there are no problems.
Yes, that's true. Specifically because you have not killed them, raped them, or burned down their houses. You see, contrary to what the global media would have you believe, all Burmese Muslims are not Rohingya, and all Burmese Rohingya are not Muslims. The minority Hindu Rohingyas have been persecuted just as much as the Muslim Rohingya, and their account of the persecution is no less harrowing. The main reason the Buddhist nationalists want to wipe the Rohingya out of Arakan is not their religion, it's their otherness. They are not perceived as a part of the Burmese nation by the Burmese nationalists, but the Rohingya are Burmese. A widely cited study from 1799 suggests that the Rohingya have lived in the Arakan as early as 17th century. But for some weird reason, the post-1962 military junta was not very interested in critically examining old history texts, but they went on to sponsor a certain brand of radical Buddhist nationalism that portrayed the Rohingya as illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. Finally, the Rohingya were institutionally subjugated in the 1982 citizenship law, where they were identified as foreign nationals because they can provide enough evidence of their Burmese ancestry, whereas no such evidence was asked of people who looked Burmese. Since then, the Rohingya have been subjected to institutional discrimination, persecution, and ethnic cleansing. They have been pouring over the border of Bangladesh for the past 6 decades, long before the Western media figured out that Buddhists killing Muslims sounds kind of funny. That's why Suu Kyi's claims about the rights of the Muslim Burmese say nothing about the Rohingya. Because there are Burmese Muslims, and then there are the Rohingya, who have been denied the right to be Burmese. But the international community has decided to look at this problem as a Muslim problem because, that's how they look at any problem nowadays. And Suu Kyi has seized this opportunity to go on and talk about the Rohingya crisis without talking about the Rohingya crisis at all.
3 police outposts were attacked by armed Muslim groups, and these clashes resulted in loss of lives, injuries, burning of villages, and the displacement of peoples in the affected areas. Many Muslims fled to Bangladesh.
Pay close attention to the causal connection she's establishing here. See, Muslims attack military outposts, and as a result, miraculously for some reasons, other Muslims start to flee the area and go to a foreign land as refugees. There is no involvement of the Myanmarese military in the whole conflict at all. How amazing. See, not only is she overlooking the Burmese military's blatant human rights abuses, she is actually blaming the Rohingya people for the crisis. She only uses the word Rohingya when talking about the militant group ARSA, and according to her narrative, being a Rohingya automatically makes a person guilty of supporting the militant group according to Burmese law. Well, law ain't justice. And therein lies the problem of Suu Kyi's rhetoric. She is portraying the ethnic cleansing of the Rohingya people as a regional religious tension. And that is easily conceivable to the people she's actually talking to, the people who really matter to her, the people who gave her the Nobel Peace Prize, pandering to whom has been the cornerstone of her career as a politician. So with her benevolent, pro-development, Western people watching, Suu Kyi goes on to rap about the development programs she has undertaken for the Muslim people and the good of Myanmar. But the truth of the matter is that Rohingya don't have access to any of these programs at all. Access to the right to live is their everyday challenge. Education or healthcare is a far cry. They have nothing. And if the Burmese government has its way, they are nothing. So Suu Kyi can go on flaunting about her institutional approach to solving this problem, like a verification process for a path to citizenship, or working with Bangladesh to make the borders more secure, or implementing some of Kofi Annan Commission's recommendations. Sound really good, don't they? But in reality, the path to citizenship leads to the exclusion of Rohingya people from citizenship under the age-old excuse of not having enough evidence of their Burmese ancestry. Working with Bangladesh simply means not letting the Rohingya people cross the border to safety and stop being an international pain in the neck. And implementing some of Kofi Annan's recommendations simply mean dancing around recommendations that require giving Rohingya people nationality, citizenship, and equal dignity as Burmese people. Aung San Suu Kyi has built her entire political career based on pandering to the international community by giving them what they want to see. She has given them a champion for democracy when they wanted one, and now she is giving them a statesman distraught by religious conflict in her country, just like the world wants to see. And by doing so, by asking for some more time and portraying her country as a young democracy, all she's really telling the international community is to shut the hell up about this already, while she and her government goes on to facilitate the strategic cleansing of the Rohingya identity. This is Anupam Debashish Roy with Dhaka Tribune.